601. We're starting it. 601.
It's crazy.
We looked at 120-ish episodes. This will be 119.
Roughly.
I guess this is 6. We should be a little older, a little wiser.
6 seasons in a movie, yeah.
6 seasons in a movie. Next season is the Lighthouse IT podcast movie.
Yeah, we don't have to even make the podcast, actually, which is kind of funny.
No,
there's no 7th season. It's just the movie.
It's just cancel it. It's 6 seasons and a movie. So after this, I hope everybody enjoys it, because after this, we're freaking done. We're going to have the Lighthouse.
That is the longest joke.
We're going to... Oh, now I wish we wouldn't have put that out in the universe, because now that would have been hilarious. We'll just see, right?
We'll see what happens with the movie, yeah. We'll kick off this new year with the new podcast.
I think you're right. Let's do it. It's 2025. Do you know where your Lighthouse IT Solutions podcast is? It's right here. We're back. We made it. We survived.
I thought it was a Life 360 ad.
It's for the last time. I told you last night. No. You know where your kids are. Yeah, this is episode 601, season 6, starting a new one.
601. Jeez.
Well, listen, this is how the big wigs do it. You do 6, and then it's 01 for the number of the episode. So it's not 601, but kind of is.
This is too
complex. But this is the rough. Google it. Use AI, and we'll teach you how.
Oh man, I wish I knew more about AI. I wish there was a podcast.
I wish we could talk about technology news. Yeah,
crazy.
We could learn about AI.
Like,
is he the one that was? Did he have a farm? No, that was old McDonald. That wasn't AIAIO. That was.
Boo. That was awful.
I had to push really hard for that one, and the payoff was not great.
Man. There's some cool stuff that happened, though. I mean, it's been 2 months. We always take that January off.
Yeah, hopefully you missed us. I'm not going to say we're well rested. We don't use that time to rest. We use it to finish up, our December. December is always a really busy time for us, and then, we still record and everything, but then we need January to recover and then figure out, and you and I plan on what we're going to do, not just with the podcast, but media in general. I'm excited about what we talked about.
Big year.
We got a big year. Is it like the big year, like the movie where it's all about birds?
No. The Big Year's a movie about birds. I haven't actually heard that. The Big Year.
Yeah, it's about it's about bird watchers.
Oh,
it's the big year.
Jack Black and Owen Wilson. Yeah, Owen Wilson.
Wasn't Steve Martin in it too?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God you said that, because for a second there I was like...
John Cleese too.
Oh, I don't remember John Cleese. I didn't care for it as a movie. I'm just going to say that.
Never seen this. It's got pretty bad reviews.
As it should.
Yeah.
Bummer, because it had Steve Martin in it. I don't remember John Cleese, but...
I like how I Googled this, and the birding subreddit is like the third link, and it's just like, anybody else love this movie? And everyone's like, yeah.
Is it used? It's the subreddit for birding?
For birding.
That story tracks. Yeah, so yeah, going to be a big year. Not the big year, but a big year. We're looking forward to 2025 and all that she brings to us.
Yeah, we'll be here covering some cool stuff too that happens throughout the year. So,
speaking of birds, penguins, when they are attracted to a mate, they present them with gifts, and it's usually
a stone, I think.
A pebble.
Oh, a pebble. Oh, that's
so
a good little segue. I'm
going to try to do better at Dean Kamen's this year, right? We're going to bring back the Dean Kamen. We were so good at those.
Yeah, I don't think we did that much at all last year.
So, that's because we also invented the whole pipe noise so that we didn't have to Dean Kamen as much.
Yeah. But if you do a good job, we don't have to pipe noise.
So in other words...
No, I'm super excited about this story, though. Basically, the history of what we got, the backstory of this is, so Pebble is a smartwatch brand, quite a while ago now, 10 years ago, perhaps.
Should I make you feel
bad, but you should bring yours in. I think I have one too, actually, from Colby. Yeah, I don't know. Pretty sure she still has it. But yeah, it's was that an e-ink display and everything?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why the battery lasts so long. And
30 days on that watch.
Wild. It was so cool. And now we have the Withings and stuff, man. But
I do love the Withing watches.
Yeah. But as Google does, Google bought out this company and pretty much just, put them on the back burner. Didn't really.
Well, they sold to Fitbit.
Oh, right. They sold to Fitbit first, then Google.
Then Fitbit they released one device and then killed the whole line. They and I'm going to say they introduced, but you know that based on the whole design, Pebble was in the process of developing a color version of the e-ink watch. And if you have a Kindle, e-ink watches, they're visible in daylight.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
They only use power when they need to change.
When they need to change the screen. So, yeah, they were largely digital watches, but it means that realistically, you only really had to update the screen once a minute, right? And
that 30-day time period is battery technology 10 years ago.
And that's e-ink technology 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, some of these e-ink systems, they don't update the whole screen. They can update quadrants.
Yeah.
And so they don't have to refresh because that was it. An e-ink, you had to flash the whole screen. So yeah, now you can just do sections of these screens, and they're super efficient. Can only imagine. If you can't tell, I had a Pebble. It's my favorite watch. I loved this thing. And Fitbit bought this company, introduced a color model that was hated because they cut a lot of corners, and then and called it a Fitbit, and then folded, and then basically never created another e-ink display one. And then like a year after Fitbit bought them,
2016 Fitbit bought them. Google bought them in 2017.
Fitbit gets purchased by Google.
Yeah, and canceled the Pebble line.
Gone, dead.
Yeah.
So there is some people out there that have tried to hack this. It's like the rebel movement.
REBLE.
Yeah, I never really got into hacking the watch by that point in time. I finished crying during that 2 years and moved on.
But Google recognized that movement, and they have since now released the source code for Pebble OS. So now that Rebel community, that project, can really get moving. And even the founder of Pebble itself is planning on using this OS, because he's now able to, because it's open source.
Yeah, they're legitimately open sourcing it, so you can fork it and do whatever you want. I'm excited by this. You know what I would love to see? I would love for the Pebble OS to support larger screens. Not because I want a Pip-Boy on my arm, but that'd be sweet.
That'd be cool.
Have you ever heard of Chumby?
No.
So I had a Chumby, probably...
Chumby? Did you get that checked by a doctor?
I'm going to say this has got to be pushing almost 15 to 20 years. And so the Chumby was an Internet of Things device ahead of its time, naturally, of course. Like, that's just how I roll. That you would install widgets to, and you would use... It was designed, it could be an alarm clock, but it was effectively just this little... I mean, gosh, people have Echoes and everything in their office, in their houses now. This was just a little box, and what was neat about it is it had a couple of, like, slap buttons, but it was padded. And so, like, you just put it on there, and then I used it it had an alarm clock widget, and you could use it as an alarm clock. And then what was neat is you could have it so that you had profiles. So in the widget, when you woke up, it would change the screen out of like a dark mode into here's the weather and the news. It would just cycle through different widgets like a slideshow to tell you what was going on in the world.
So they could have like almost not a tablet version of Pebble OS, but like
imagine something like this with e-ink. I would love to see those two projects merge.
Yeah. That'd be really cool. The Pebble OS, though, and the future plans, it seems to be, are really just trying to utilize the history of Pebble. So keeping it, simple, keeping it, sustainable, basically. Keeping it so that
built though too.
Yeah,
they were very well built.
The idea that you shouldn't have to throw it away in 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And it should be compatible with all of the previous Pebble apps and watch faces. So
I'm not as worried about that because I feel like that's pretty legacy.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm sure there's some diehard people, but like, it's been 10 years. I'd rather see a little bit more innovation than backwards compatibility.
I think they'll have to. I mean, it's the source code that was never touched, so it'll take some time. But what's your thought? You buying a Pebble watch?
So if so they say it's going to be similar specs to the original, which, is fine because it works so well. But I think that might decrease the cost quite a bit for today's money, if it's under like $200, I'm probably going to get one.
Which the original was.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's
the original was under 200, which we've had a little bit of inflation, but
and my current watch is kind of getting to the point where I'm like, we'll see if I want to change this.
So I've been tempted.
And this was $350. I mean, geez.
can never remember what generation it is because it's that old.
You got like a 2 or 3.
I think
Super
yes,
old.
yeah.
I'm
Whatever the
surprised
first
you're still rocking it.
whatever the first year of the GPS. That's the only way I know how to look it up. It's the first year of having GPS. That's why I got it. And so selfishly, I meant to get it for, it was supposed to be, it was a gift. I got one as a gift. And then I thought they were way too cool. And so I was that guy. My tech site took over.
It is
so I bought one for myself as well. But look, I'm looking for a reason to leave. There's just one problem. There's one thing that the Apple Watch has.
Find your phone.
And you know me.
Mm-hmm.
How often do we just randomly in the office, do you hear my phone go off? Because
you're looking for it.
Yeah. So guys, girls, company, if you run a company that makes one of these smartwatches, if you can find my phone.
If you can integrate that.
That is all I need for you to convince me. I'm looking at you, why things. I'm now looking at you, Pebble. I want to leave. I want to go. So yeah, Pebble. So all of that is to say, Pebble Watch. I'm looking for you for redemption.
Chance of one coming out later in this year, which is wild to think about. But if it's open source and you got that strong community, it's possible. And especially if it's the old specs.
I love it.
Yeah. Don't need much more than that.
I'm so ready for this.
Invest in the new e-ink, technology. And I don't even think I really would care if it was color. I think I'd prefer black and white to make it longer lasting. And then, boom.
I would like to see color because I think that's something that's just an expectation. But you're right.
Make it another model, though. Make it more expensive model.
But if they sold me an updated version of the exact same watch I had.
Yeah, because the support went away. Like, it just.
It was nothing.
Yeah.
Yep. So, do I have a segue? All right. I give a ship. So, with Pebbles, you shouldn't aim for those when you're in a boat, right? No, that one's too forced.
Yeah, no Pebbles. Don't want to be the Concordia.
No. So we talked a little while ago. If you remember the Baltic Sea, there was the data cable that got severed.
Yeah, a lot of countries were
pointing fingers at people. We were trying to figure everything out. Well, Sweden has seized a ship that they believe is actually responsible for the sabotage of that fiber in the Baltic Sea. They said the ship that in question, and there's belief that there were 3 ships in the area when this all happened. The ship in question has a damaged anchor.
So it was a Chinese merchant vessel before, right?
So this carries a Maltese flag. So yeah. So this is getting complicated. Initially, what we were hearing is there's a Chinese vessel that was encouraged by the Russians to do this. So then,
and that was all speculation. So
it was all speculation. So the Swedish people have seized a Maltese vessel.
Man, Malta's like tiny too. So
yeah, but I do think there is a lot with the trade. I think I don't think
they're in the Mediterranean, so huge trade.
Yeah,
port.
I wonder if the Maltese is like Delaware. If you're maritime, you just found your business there. It's like Delaware has very lax tax laws.
Yeah.
So if you wonder why a business is in Delaware, it's probably because of that. So yeah, they've seized the, let's just call it the Vezhen. Maybe Veshen.
Vezhen.
Yeah. And we'll pretend that I've said it correctly. But they have seized that ship for damaging the fiber data cable that runs along the Baltic Sea headed towards Latvia. Initial evidence of the whole situation, as you remember, we talked about, oh, look, this is sabotage. And the reason that they have solely identified this ship is because it has a damaged anchor. Now,
the cable seemed to be like pretty clean cut, though.
That's what we were told, is that it didn't seem like this was anchor damage. So this is what I'm kind of concerned about. However, the operator of the ship, which is Bulgarian, Navigation Maritime Bulgaire, denies malicious intent and has provided a statement that says, look, the reason that anchor is damaged, and if we did damage the fiber, it was never meant to be on purpose. Basically said that the Vezhen dropped his anchor to the ocean floor because there were incredibly high winds and it was getting pulled.
Yeah.
But this still doesn't line up. Somebody somewhere is lying to me. Either this is not the ship, because we were told that it did not look like this could be done by an anchor.
Yeah, but maybe that's not a correct report either.
And exactly. So
Well, I mean, the main reason we should talk about this is because this is something that can happen a lot more in the future and affects...
NATO is now putting sea drones in the water because there were actually several incidents of data lines becoming damaged last year alone, which was very uncommon. And so, now NATO is patrolling, and one of the things that they are rolling out are these drones, underwater drones, to monitor and track and basically survey these ocean cables.
Wow.
So it's definitely created a stir.
Watch a documentary about the people who maintain those, and they have to live at depth. So there's like little capsules and stuff that are pretty far down, and they have like a tether to the ship above so that they can whatever, but they're there for like weeks on end. And what's crazy is that their oxygen has to have a limited amount of nitrogen, because that's the stuff that gets in your blood and it causes the bends if you go up. So they replace it with helium. So everybody down there has a super high-pitched voice.
Really?
Yeah. So it's an oxygen-helium mixture.
That's weird.
Yeah, but it tricks your brain into thinking it's normal oxygen and everything, and it doesn't actually affect you too bad.
Yeah.
So everyone's just walking around with like Mickey Mouse voice.
Hey, how's it going?
It's hilarious. So,
speaking of Mickey Mouse, that breach that UnitedHealth had with the Change Healthcare, if you remember, that was back in February
last year.
Yeah, so a year out from that. Well, let's just go ahead and call it the largest healthcare breach in U.S. history, because we can now. Back in October, they started to report, they were filing reports that it affected 100 million. Wow. And they said that they have not yet filed an amended report, but that the number is nearly doubled to 190 million people.
When we first reported on this, we had no idea, and we speculated that it was just a section or like a region. It seems like it might be everyone that they have.
It's feeling like it, yeah. And this Change Healthcare is part of UnitedHealth, who's already having a lot of fun. But the stolen information is interesting because, so it was a ransomware attack. Change Healthcare paid the ransom. And then it turns out, I believe this was Black Cat that did this. They didn't delete the data like they said they were going to. So no honor among thieves, right? No surprise there.
Yep.
So they ransomed them a second time. Well, they extorted them.
Extorted at that point, yeah.
For the second time and effectively started leaking data. The data included things like patient insurance information, medical records, billing and payment information, and sensitive personal information, your phone address, and, quote, sometimes social security number or government ID number.
Sometimes?
Yeah, I don't know why they said sometimes the social security, like what, why it didn't have those. Part of me feels like, is it sometimes or is it either or? Did you have a government ID or an SSN?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't take your SSN because you don't have one.
So this is just, a few small pieces of your information, no big deal.
Yeah, it's just everything about who you are as a person.
Yeah. Anything anyone would need to act like you.
Sigh.
That's terrible. I can't believe we're only hearing about this now, 12 months later, and it's still ongoing.
All right, so what does Apple and Batman have in common?
Secrets.
Flop, slap, pow, bang.
Oh.
We got ourselves an Apple vulnerability, which thankfully it only applies to recent generation Apple A series and M series processors, which is effectively everything.
Yeah. I remember when they moved from Intel. Oh, yeah. Years ago.
Let me continue to read my notes from my Apple M-powered iPad.
No worries here.
No worries here whatsoever. So look, we've got some newly discovered vulnerabilities. As a result, obviously the A series chips are largely your phones, so iPhones are affected. M series, you'll recognize those for Mac and iPad. Yay.
Mm-hmm. So just everything they make.
So just pretty much everything since they've switched to ARM. I think the older Apple processors for the iPhone, the older, earlier A series don't. I don't exactly know which ones, where the cutoff is on the A, but M series processors are near enough that I'm just going to go ahead and say that pretty much feel like every M series is probably affected. No big deal. What can happen is the vulnerabilities in these processors, which remember are designed from the ground up for security, can leak sensitive data such as credit card information, locations, and other personal details from the Chrome and Safari browsers, which Chrome is WebKit. So I'm going to guess that this is going to expand to any browser that you
WebKit
can run on these
browser.
devices
Yeah.
for WebKit.
But the exploit is fascinating how they actually accomplish this. It is what they call a performance optimization technique, which I don't fully understand, but it's more about like monitoring, or rather a system that monitors timing, sound, and power consumption. And then they can pull kind of what like logs of that are, and then they can kind of see
What was done, what data was
being
transferred.
housed in memory and such.
Yeah, so what we have is there are side channel attacks that are used, and we get some great names. So you have flop and you have slap.
Flop and slap.
So on flop, this takes some what they would call speculative execution and exploits it, allowing the attacker to read the contents of memory, which should normally be off limits, like you said, but you're trying to analyze the performance behavior of the device.
Which is good for, performance of the M chips, the ones that are,
Yep.
low power consumption, things like that.
And so there's this system called a load value predictor. And the load value predictor, I think, is actually trying to see, do I need to, because a lot of these processors can turn cores on and off. So do I need to start powering on cores? So it's starting to analyze, it's doing this performance analysis.
Predicting to be ahead.
Do I need to start utilizing additional cores? So that type of information can be used to steal locations. So you have Google Maps, inbox content, even from places like Proton Mail, which is encrypted email services, and your events in your calendar. Now, the slap is used to predict memory addresses that are incorrect. So the attackers are using this to effectively access strings of JavaScript from websites like Gmail when a tab is open. So it's within the same browser tab. They're able to effectively hack the memory strings and pull this JavaScript data. The whole concept breaks the idea that the hardware and software measures on these devices, because remember, they're bulletproof security devices
built for security,
that are solely designed to, these processors and everything are designed to be, we're told, isolate each other, and you're not supposed to be able to do this. And it completely says, yeah, but except you can.
But here's this hole
that you can just walk right in. There are different ways of doing it, but we do believe that Apple is working on some software patches to close these holes.
Yep, the researchers who found these issues basically published a list and then told Apple about it. And Apple has privately told them that they're going to release patches and plan on working on it. But
generally,
in classic Apple fashion, we have no timeline.
Generally speaking, too, the researchers will explain how it works a little bit more in detail. You're going to get very high level because they're going to give Apple the ability to, it's responsible security.
Yeah, try to fix it so that people don't.
The only time that they usually don't, in responsible reporting like this, the only time that you ever release a bug that's never been patched is because the company refuses to acknowledge it. So you almost have to publicly shame them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the researchers, like you said, I think the researchers said, look, we were confirmed by Apple that they were working on patches to correct it.
But Apple hasn't said anything outside of this. So
now, I want to make it very clear. I'm taking my stabs and my jabs at Apple, but I want it to be clear. It's because anything is a security hole. Software is living, breathing, and complicated, especially operating systems. If somebody tells you that there is no way a hacker can get in, you need to run. And I do think that sometimes Apple's hubris on being more secure than an X or a Y their marketing department tends to get them into troubles. They tend to cash checks that their derrieres can't cash. But look, every device that we use is hackable. Your phone, your watch, probably even your toaster. Like, that's the world we live in. There's microprocessors in everything. There are vulnerabilities.
Well, yeah, eBay is doing something interesting. This is very unexpected. That's kind of just why I wanted to put it in here, especially because I haven't really seen any sort of, like, I only saw one article that really talked about it. So eBay is partnering with Facebook Marketplace to have eBay listings a part of Facebook Marketplace, but like fully like you can't really notice them. They should just be like completely natively integrated without any sort of, oh, this is an eBay listing right away. But it's still going to be handled by eBay. So the idea is that eBay's probably paying Facebook some amount of dollars to, feature some listings, basically. I wouldn't call it sponsorships, but it's there, They're only doing this for US, Germany, and France to start. And you don't have to do anything as a seller. You don't have to really do anything as a buyer. If you're a buyer, you probably need to have an eBay list account to actually go through with the purchase and all that jazz. And this doesn't work with like auctions or anything like that on eBay. It's simply
the buy it now stuff.
Simply the buy it now stuff, as far as we know for now. Again, this is all early on. Things could change. But the idea is really, as a buyer, you're on Facebook Marketplace. You click a link, opens up into eBay, and then you just exist in eBay as you're going through the process of ordering and that kind of thing. It's probably going to be a little bit more native, like, in the Facebook Marketplace ecosystem later on. And that's, I think, what they're trying to do. But they are trying to make one marketplace instead of these two. And I don't really know who asked for this.
Does Facebook make money off of marketplace sales? They can't, right?
I don't think so. I mean, there's ads,
Yeah, but I think but I think it's like Craigslist. You post, Craigslist, you paid $5 or something, or at least you did it once. I think you did. I think you do now, but I don't think you did in the beginning.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I haven't used Craigslist. I don't know if anybody's used Craigslist.
I did. So anyway, I think eBay's probably hurting just from marketplace alone. I think a lot of things actually are, because you're right. Craigslist used to be a big one that people went to. eBay was a big one they went to. And now you just do it all through Marketplace. Yeah.
I know a lot of people still use Facebook Marketplace more so than they use like proper Facebook. It's just they get on for Marketplace. And whether or not they're selling or not, a lot of people just do it just to get rid of stuff,
sometimes it's free. Sometimes,
I see a lot of like fridges on, the end of the driveway says free for scrap or whatever.
Yeah.
People come, boom, that's it. But it's a great way to do it.
So I think eBay's hurting. Yeah. This is a great opportunity. And Facebook probably is like, this thing is huge and we make no money off of it. We might as well make some dollars.
eBay's probably going to pay Facebook for a little bit, and then, eBay's getting used. So,
and I do wonder if it becomes one of those things like right now, I'm sure there's an algorithm to determine whether or not this, like if you sold so many, and before that they will integrate and pay for that for you. But I do wonder if at one point you'll be able to pay extra to have it integrate with Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Because, right, I would love to be able to put something on eBay and know that it gets to Facebook Marketplace. This doesn't guarantee that. They're making the decision for me. But I bet if they said, hey, would you like this to appear in Marketplace too? You'd be like, okay.
And maybe that's the plan, but it's just not there yet. But it's so new, and it's fascinating that they're doing this. And I wonder who approached to. It's got to be eBay approaching
eBay
Facebook.
Had to have. Because I guarantee this Marketplace has hurt them hard.
Man, I just opened up Marketplace. It is hilarious. Do you want a 17-inch vase?
Yeah.
It's really thin and clear and has like a really bulbous end and like a little pipe coming out the top.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could fit like maybe a flower in it.
You could fit, like a flower, but like on the bottom part.
It's interesting. You and I have different Marketplace ads. Mine's cars. Mine's
cars.
Mine's cars and prom dresses, and I need to know what in the world in my life.
I'll go to the top. I never actually use marketplaces.
Okay, this is good to know, because I feel like.
But like, look at that. Like, I'm not looking at women's clothing on Facebook, and here's an entire category.
Okay, yeah, that's my problem. Is
like, I'd be surprised. I should see more like GPUs and stuff if it's based on.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because I'm just like, it's like, hey, here's a list of selections from Marketplace, and it's like, it's a really nice vase.
It's a really nice vase.
Very tall.
Super tall.
Why does it have that thing off the side?
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I got a lot of prom dresses.
The picture's already got some water in it. It's interesting.
It's dirty water, though.
Well, look, glad you established that, because I was really worried in my life, like what I did to get to. I'm like, cars make sense. I love cars. But then it's like you'd scroll through and like the fifth entry was like prom dress. And
there's
you're like,
be a big
I'm not wearing a prom dress.
Yeah. There's got to just be like
I'm definitely not fit.
Yeah.
Like, you should do your metrics. I won't even fit in that prom dress.
Come on.
Not anymore.
Facebook know my height and weight. Jeez. Come on.
You already know all my information. You asked for my driver's license to get an account.
I did a DeepSeek on you.
I did a DeepSeek. Okay, so I know we've gone long.
Let's get in the meat and potatoes of this.
We've talked a lot about stuff.
If you're listening
Who knows?
to this, you probably have been hearing about something big.
Who knows? That's right. The other news. I don't know how much of it. This is our first time back. There's all this pent up, oral action that we need. I said oral.
With an A, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, just have all this pent up oral energy that we needed to get out there in the world. Regardless, you alluded to it. We're hearing a lot about it. I want to talk DeepSeek. I think you do too.
Yeah, DeepSeek, man, changing the game. I mean, has it been 4 years with AI? 2021 was really when
we started going, what's this AI thing?
Yeah. So, but it's taken a little bit of time, it seems. But here we are with, I think, the market changer, the thing that's going to disrupt the market. It is the super cheap AI DeepSeek and their R1 model, which is a Chinese AI company who made this. DeepSeek is the name of them. But just dropped out of nowhere.
Dropped this right before NVIDIA had like an earnings call. That is baller.
Yeah. Who also just released like a massive line of gaming GPUs and everything that was hugely expected and everything. And their stock tanks. 17%. Huge amount.
17%. And
remember, this is a $3 trillion company.
I was going to say, let's set this up.
Yeah.
So we just said that they tanked 17%. Their value's about $3 trillion. They lost almost $600 billion in market cap. And the biggest reason is because NVIDIA has done this amazing thing where they have linked AI and the language processing modules and NPUs to be a GPU function. Mm-hmm. So the graphics cards they're selling are designed to offload AI.
Which I don't know if that was like a happenstance because of the whole mining industry or what.
They got into it early because of Bitcoin mining and stuff. So they're trying to convince us. And the reality is yes, that's true today that a lot of the NPU type of processing is handled by GPUs, your graphics cards.
It doesn't have to be, though.
It doesn't have to be. It can literally be anything. Mm-hmm. And so, we live in this world where there's now discrete NPUs, and that's where we get into, you'll hear things like the Copilot Plus computers where whatever this new Snapdragon processor is, I can't remember the name of it, or the Intel Ultra series, they have an NPU in it. Look, you can process AI on pretty much anything, but NVIDIA has created a hype train around their GPUs. So they have made it look like they are the definitive provider and power resource.
Which speaks to investors, AI. Man. Oh, man.
And so I technically think this day was always coming for NVIDIA because I think they were overvalued. I think this fear where everybody sold and tanked them 17%, I think now has them undervalued. They aren't dead yet.
Yeah, I mean, their stock is, if you look like a year ago, it's still wildly higher.
Way out of the way.
I mean, you look at 5 years and it's tripled, quadrupled, potentially. Like, huge.
So why are we making a big deal about all of this money just because somebody else introduced a new AI system? It's easy. DeepSeek did something that nobody else has done, and that is the development of the DeepSeek R1 model. Effectively, the implementation was about $5.5 million. Yes, that's a lot of money, but anybody else in this space is paying billions of dollars.
Billions, and they did it at a fraction.
And they did it rapidly.
In 2 months.
Using H800s from NVIDIA, so it's still using the NVIDIA chips, right? But literally, they did it for pennies on the dollar. They have built an AI system.
Yeah. And it's not just like any old large language model. It is one that is kind of, I don't know if it's copied, but it's one that is referenced in the OpenAI 01 or 01 models that were released in September of 2024, which is a breakthrough model as well, that takes its time. And I know that sounds kind of like lame, but it's the idea that this is going to sit there and be like, I need to think about this one for a moment to give you a good answer. And that's, I forget what they call that, but it's like a reasoning model or something like that.
Yep.
So
this is doing that. And this is considered, so OpenAI and ChatGPT and all that, but the OpenAI models are considered a reasoning model. And right now, they're the people. They're the guys.
Mm-hmm.
This DeepSeek, this R1, directly competes as a reasoning model directly against the OpenAI models.
And it's free. And
oh, that's right. It's open source.
What? So the reason why we think this is going to disrupt the industry is because it's going to disrupt the industry.
It's, I follow a guy named Daniel Missler who has a newsletter called Unsupervised Learning. If you're a techie type person and you do like security news, it's fascinating. But he's obsessed with AI. He does all kinds of stuff with it. So he is excited about this because he's described this as, we are charging for this and there has to be payout on investments and people are making monetization. And that is good to see people spend money and see investors put money in.
Yeah.
But what's going to slow adoption is that only the rich kind of thing, it's going to drive the costs up. I love the way he describes this. There has to be slack in the rope to make it commonplace. R1 shows there is slack in the rope.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need billions of dollars in equipment to do AI.
Yeah. And ChatGPT just released a $200 a month unlimited plan.
Yeah. It's insane.
Come on. And here we are with a free version that is comparable.
Now, you would have to still train it. You'd still have to learn. Like, there's a lot there.
And you
still
have to host it.
Yeah. So, and you will, with these, you will likely need an NPU.
But I just watched a video of a guy putting it on a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
It's probably not fast. Did he have to use one of the, because there is hats.
The NPU hat, yep.
Yeah.
Which, it's a $80 device plus a $40 hat. So it's real cheap to get into still.
Yep. You could get the top of the line one. You can get the whole kit under $200 for the Pi. And then, you buy, they call it a hat, and it basically plugs into the top.
Yep.
And the AI hat is like, I think $50, $40.
Yeah, and he went over the top, and he got the PoE power one. He got the SSD hat for it too, and all that stuff. Or the M2 hat, I guess is what it's called.
Because you need a place for storage.
Yeah.
He probably has easily under $500 on that Raspberry Pi.
Oh yeah.
And he's got an AI device.
And probably under like 3 hours of time.
Yep.
Didn't take very long.
So if you're wondering why all of us computer geeks are getting excited about this,
just changes the game.
It changes the game.
Yep.
It literally changes the game. And I get it. It's a Chinese-based company. That's kind of something or organization. But but this is open source. We can audit this code.
And for comparison, or give you kind of an understanding of the world right now, Zuckerberg, Meta CEO, responded with bringing his engineers into what he called a war room to go through and how to understand it and how they can compete and that kind of thing. How they're doing it at a fraction of the cost, basically. But also he announced a $65 billion investment in AI-related projects. Again, $65 billion, and this one was created with $5.5 million over 2 months.
Yeah. Right before we started recording, what is it? The Golden Child AI projects, Anthropic, just raised $11 billion in its most recent round of funding.
Crazy.
With Google being one of the big names, I think the majority of that $11 billion.
Yeah, I think Google's
to one company. To one company. And they are investing in other AI models or AI platforms as well. Billions. So the investment of billions. And DeepSeek did it in millions.
Yeah. And everyone's freaking out because the investors who are putting money into Anthropic, for
now
example,
they're going, okay,
where did my money go? What am I doing? What
Why? Yeah, what
everyone's
are we doing
second-guessing themselves, and it's getting crazy right now. So I don't know what's going to happen with this, but it's likely that people are going to really adopt DeepSeek because it's, again, open source, so you can do whatever. But is there any security concerns yet? We don't know much, but we know it's cheap.
I don't know much.
We know
but
it's
I know
powerful.
I love you. Another feature on R1 and why I think this is so disruptive is it does what's called distillation. Distillation's a fancy term for the LLMs that it really just means that, normally you have to seed the model with data. You have to provide it with content to learn from. distillation is using AI to train AI.
Oh, yeah.
So literally in their learning models, the reason they were able to get up and running so quickly is they actually used different AI platforms such as OpenAI's. They used those other platforms to train it.
Yeah.
So it got up to speed faster.
It's machine learning.
Yeah, it's a machine learning platform that uses machine learning.
Yo,
I heard you like
machine learning.
I heard your AI likes AI.
Yeah. So put AI in your AI so you can AI while you're AI. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm doubly excited about the image generation and potentially video generation that comes out of this one. One of the biggest problems right now with AI video and images is you can still tell what it is just based on the high levels of contrast that exist in images.
Yeah.
Because, it's stable diffusion, so it has to like slowly create the image as a whole instead. I don't know if this is going to approach it differently, but it's still easy to tell. Is this going to make a proper unidentifiable, AI image? I don't know, but this might be the one to do it, which is scary.
We're gonna find out. DeepSeek, we're making a big deal about it today. We've talked a lot about it. This is not the last time I think we're talking about our one.
Yeah.
And now the question is how many companies are going to jump ship off of OpenAI?
Yeah.
Or some of these other solutions?
OpenAI was just valued at like 60 billion or something. So we'll see.
We'll see how that goes at the end of Q1.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a big episode.
I'm spent. What do you think?
I mean, I'm sure there's more we could cover, but probably should give these people a rest.
That's right. We're going to let you guys catch up and get ready. Episode 2, Season 6. 602 if you're keeping track at home. That's how that works.
Wow.
It'll be our 120th episode. So maybe we missed episode 100, so we'll celebrate 120 instead. What do you think? We're like, hail the conquering hero. No, look, that does it for this episode of the Lighthouse IT Solutions Podcast. Griff and I are excited to be back. Happy to be able to join you. Can't believe that it has been 5 years of doing that. Well, we're just a couple months shy, but 5 years of the podcast. I don't think either one of us probably expected us to want to keep doing it after 6 episodes.
I feel like the first couple, because we just kind of looked.
They were rough.
Were not this format. So.
Yeah, if you really want awkward, go back to those first ones. But on behalf of Griffin and all of the people here at Lighthouse IT Solutions, look, we've got the hub.lighthouseSOL.com if you are a client, or even if you're not, there's some great resources on there. Check out the podcast, get the notes, look at all the information we talked about. You can look at some other solutions and things that we've got going on. We've got even more content that we've got planned for this year that I'm really excited about, that I'm going to keep my mouth tight-lipped on it, but excited to be able to share in that. Yeah, look, lighthousesol.com/podcast will take you right there too if you don't feel like going to the hub first. But why not? The hub is the great place for everyone, especially our clients, to be able to access things like training, ticket requests, ticket status, notes and solutions that are available. All kinds of great stuff. What are you even doing?
What are you doing?
Why are you not on the hub? I'm just kidding. You probably are because you're awesome. All of our clients are. Until next time, we will talk to you later on the next Lighthouse IT Solutions podcast. Peace.